So let me ask you a question. What should you be doing right now, like right now, this moment? If you are actually avoiding doing something that you know you should be doing, you probably are procrastinating. Hi, if you don't know me, I am Barika from Simply Unique Coaching, and I have been leading for over 15 years. I led way more than 18 teams, and I like to say that I'm the leader who learned in the trenches. And in today's video, we're going to talk about procrastination. So before we get into overcoming procrastination, which we all, if we're being honest, have to deal with from time to time, we are going to talk about what is procrastination. So I'm going to give you just my definition of procrastination. It's like just basically not doing what you know you should be doing when you should be doing, right? And I am definitely someone who has dealt with procrastination, especially when I was in college. I was like probably the queen of procrastination. I used to wait until the absolute last minute to get my assignments done. I remember one time I had this paper. I did one of those studies where I can't remember what it's called right now, but basically where you pick a topic and you study that topic for the entire semester. And so typically, most people only have to write like one paper that's like 20 pages long. My professor decided to be the professor who wanted me to write 3 20-page papers. So I was writing my last 20-page paper and it was due like 5 o'clock or close of business on that Friday. And literally I drove up to the college at 6 a.m., slid it under the door on a Saturday and was like, hey, it got there before the next business day, so I think I'm good, But definitely was the queen of procrastination, but not anymore. So let's talk about a few reasons why people actually may procrastinate. So it may be a fear of failure. It may be really not having the desire to do whatever it is that one has to do. And so putting it off and avoiding actually doing it. It could also be perfectionism, like some people, and I've actually worked with children, adults too, but I've seen this definitely in children as well, where it's like if they couldn't get that thing exactly right, then it was like they got stuck or they just would not move forward or they needed really help on how to get unstuck and how to be able to actually accomplish what they needed to accomplish. And again, if you watch any of my videos, you'll know that I work with a range of individuals from really, really young all the way up until senior citizens. And so certain behaviors tend to follow people throughout their lives if they don't kind of adjust them or correct them. So a person who is a procrastinator as a child has a high likelihood of becoming one as an adult. But even as a child, if you weren't one, just life circumstances and situations can actually lead you into a situation where you might actually become someone who procrastinates. Now, let's talk about some of the negatives when it comes to procrastination. Basically, it actually can put us in a negative mindset, putting that thing off that we need to do and waiting until we get that maybe adrenaline rush. Because for me, it was an adrenaline rush. Like I was like, let me see if I can beat this deadline, or if I can make it. And most times I did. And it was crazy because sometimes the work ended up being so good that people didn't know that it was like the last minute. But anyway, I don't live life like that anymore. I much more enjoy my peace. I enjoy doing things when I can do them and doing them in a peaceful manner and not wait until the last minute. But anyway, let's get back to procrastination. But it definitely can put a person in a negative mind space, and it definitely can add pressure to them that's really unnecessary to getting their work done. So we don't want to necessarily put that on us. And sometimes you have to evaluate that. Is that something where you've kind of gotten used to that feeling of putting that pressure on yourself? And because of that, you're like, okay, let me wait to the last minute. Or is it just, frankly, you just don't want to do it? And one of the things that we can do to kind of help mitigate that is to actually do the hardest thing, the thing we don't want to do it first. And when you do that first, then it actually is going to make everything else that you have to do so much more easier. So don't put it off last, make it first. And then everything is easy peasy after that. Also, another strategy you can use is to break things into smaller steps, into little by little, just say, okay, I'm going to do this for this moment. Like right now, I'm actually helping work on a website and I'm like, okay, there are a lot of pieces to this website, but that's okay. So I'm just breaking it down to smaller tasks little by little. And just doing what I can. Okay, today when I work on it, I'm going to focus on this section. And then the next day I work on it, I'm going to focus on that section. And that has made it much more palatable as it comes to getting this website done, which I am super excited about completing this project. Another thing that can lead to procrastination, another thing that can happen is we can often find ourselves distracted, and that can lead to procrastination, or we can find ourselves procrastinating and finding distractions. Like let's say you need to clean your house and you're like, oh, but I need to check my TikTok first. And you're going to fall into that rabbit hole if you go into that TikTok, right? So just be careful about that and try not to procrastinate with the things that you need to do that are important, okay? Because there is time for us to have that leisure time, but when it's time to work, it's just time to work. And we want to make sure that we are productive. It helps us to feel good on the inside when we've accomplished those things that have felt either difficult or that we just frankly didn't want to do. And it's like when you get it done, it's like, you feel great, right? Also create a productive environment. I know sometimes I like to work in different environments and spaces. Maybe I may play different types of music for different types of work that I'm doing. If I'm doing thinking work, I might need some more mellow music. If I'm doing work that I need to get pumped and excited about, I may play some upbeat and up-tempo music. So, maybe that, or maybe work in a different space. If you're working from home, maybe work in a different area of the home. If you can, if you have like a laptop you're working from, you have the ability to work in different locations. Maybe change the scenery, go work in a coffee shop. If you're working in a corporate office or if you're working in another environment, maybe go sit in the lunchroom and do your work, or just maybe sit in an empty cubicle that's not being used by anybody. Just try to create that place in that space where you will have minimal distractions and maximum focus. Also, this is an important one. Make sure that you are kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Say, oh my gosh, I meant to do this and I was supposed to do that. You can acknowledge that you should have done something that you really need to do, but don't spend time just beating yourself up. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of energy, and it's going to make you feel bad. And when you feel bad, you're probably really not going to want to do it. So don't even waste time doing that. Also, this is a big one. Find an accountability partner. Having someone who you respect, who can check on you and also check you, is going to be super important. So that accountability partner is going to ask you questions, but really honestly, when we're mature as an individual, we will go to the accountability partner and tell them what they need to know. We won't wait for them to ask us. So I'm just going to say, the more mature you are, the more proactive you will be when you're working with an accountability partner. Now, it's okay if they have to reach out to you and, you just have to know where you are. And if they reach out to you, be honest about what's going on. And sometimes that's helpful. Think about at the gym. Some people can go to the gym. They know, okay, I can just go on my own and get it done. Some people say, okay, I need a personal trainer maybe for a period of time, and then after that I can get going. And some people need that personal trainer with them every day in order to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. So we have to be honest with where we are. And none of them are necessarily wrong. We just have to be honest with ourselves with where we are. So tell me, what do you think in the comments? Are you a procrastinator? Are you a person that kind of puts off doing what needs to be done? What was the last thing that you put off? Tell me about it in the comments. And with that being said, if you have not seen this video yet where I talk about escapism and kind of how it can be dangerous, I want you to watch that next, because that actually kind of relates to this video. And with that being said, make it a great day. Take care.